If you sell anything online and you want a specific system, in fact, you want one of the top influencer system on how you can run ads to landing pages and use DMs to close and convert prospects to sell your courses, your products, your coaching programs, etc. This is Jason Capital's 6-box method to sell anything. He goes through the exact framework, the exact scripts, the exact DMs, the exact timing of when to send all of those. He presented all of this to some of the top marketers in the world, and I have the whole keynote queued up for you, starting right now. Jason's not only just an amazing guy, a phenomenal entrepreneur, a great marketer, but he has just an amazing heart. Has been an advisor to me and my business and my personal brand for coming up on 7 to 10 years now, and all the things that we have done to build and grow our business, our brand, Jason has had his fingerprints all over it. So this is a great, I love this because you all get to experience him and what I get to experience day to day, which is a very, very powerful thing. So I'm super excited for you to be here. And JC, a lot of this started because when you were getting started with doing stuff online, you realized this unlock with how you can change people's lives with courses. And before you kind of launch into the learnings, I'd love for you to take us back to that time when you knew that, hey, you built your first product or your course and you saw it have impact. Like when was that? What was that moment?
That's a really good question. So I've been selling courses and programs and things like that on the internet since 2009. I'm going to say 2009, even though I didn't make my first sale 2010, because, you spend the first 6 months just like running into a brick wall every day with nothing happening. But eventually by 2010, that was happening. And so this is my 14th year of doing it. And something interesting I learned early on is that, like, before I was online, I was a basketball trainer and I worked with players in person. And so I could see their progress as I'm working with them, and they make the team, and he got a scholarship, and he dunked for the first time. And so you get to experience that level of impact. But when you shift to the internet, you don't have that. You don't know necessarily. I don't know how to, I can have a KPI. How many testimonials did we get? What's our churn? And that can tell me how we're doing, but it's not the same feel. Getting an email from someone saying you changed my life is great. It just doesn't have the same impact of someone in person telling you that you changed their life. And so when I started doing live events, Sharran, is when I really started to experience that, because let me get a lot of customers on the internet with my programs and stuff, and then let's get into a live event and have a live experience. And as you say, live events change lives. And that's really, there's one moment that sticks out to me. I became a dating coach in my mid-20s, and that's how we met, because you were a client of mine. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. But I had a client of mine named Jacob Parshall, and he was in the Marines at the time. And he would buy my dating courses. He'd come to my events. He joined my mastermind, and we helped him a lot. He went from being very like a shy, awkward guy to a very confident, comfortable guy in all these social situations. And one day he showed up to my office in Newport Beach unannounced he had made like a quilt, and it was like a 8x6 quilt. It was this big thing. And he had all these notes and things he had learned from me. He'd put on the quilt, and then there was a headline, and it said, Jason Capital saved the Marine's life. And he had been going through some severe depression when he was in the Marines, and he was getting shit on and whatever happened there. And it was my programs and things like that, and what he did with them, that actually made him decide not to take his own life. And he actually wrote his first book and became an author. And so, little transformations like that, they stack up. And that's the beauty of these programs. Is when I created the program, I had no idea that was going to happen. Right. And so when you create your course, you create your program, you don't know what level of impact you're going to have, because you don't know what that person on the other end is going through. And so if I never done that and never put myself out there, created that program, who knows what would have happened? And if you don't, then, there might be someone out there who needs to hear what you have to say. And if you're holding back, then you're kind of being selfish a little bit and holding it from them.
So good, man. So I will say this. So I have one more personal testimonial, and then I'm going to turn it over to JC. And here's the personal testimonial. Maybe 7 or 8 months ago, I showed one of our, we don't sell almost anything, except I have this product funnel, which is called the Productivity Playbook. Some of you have bought it from us. And the main idea for that funnel was to get more people into our world so that I could connect with them, essentially to get qualified email subscribers. That was the idea. So about 7-8 months ago, I shared with Jason, hey, let me walk you through our funnel. And so our team just shared to the funnel. And we were so proud that we were having, like, we were creating break-even traffic, meaning we would spend $80 on the front end to acquire a client. We would sell $80 worth of product. Net would be free. So we would get free subscribers, and fee paid subscribers are really good if you think about it from in the broad scheme of things, given the fact that I don't sell anything. And then Jason said, hey man, like, I think you can make these 2 small tweaks, not change anything, just change the name of 2 things. And Jason helped us change the name of 2 things. I didn't change anything in the funnel, 2 things. And we went from having a break-even funnel to $1 million profit funnel. Just let me give you that. Just give you a sense of this. We went from having a break-even funnel to $1 million profit funnel that runs on its own. So Jason's helped me in a lot of different ways, but that 1 tweak or 2 tweaks that he suggested changed something so much for us that let that also be another super cool testimonial for you, because it's happened personally in my life. So, dude, I appreciate you so much. I will, if it's cool with you, I know you have a few prepared stuff that you want to share. So I'm going to go off of Spotlight, and I'll manage the chat if that's cool.
Yeah, that sounds great, man.
Cool. All you, buddy.
I'm all alone, Sharran. Okay. No, I got this. So, hey everybody, good to see all of you. Sharran will be manning the comments. I'm not going to take a look, but I will at times ask you guys, what do you think about this? Or let me know what you're thinking about this, or that sort of thing. So, Sharran, if you can just kind of call out to me what you're hearing down there, that would be amazing. I think that's what you meant by manage the chat.
Yes.
So perfect. So, first question I had for everybody here is, who here has a course or a program or something like that you offer online right now? I just want to get a feel for how many people already have their offer.
Lots of me's in the chat. I do. Me, I do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A couple of not yets. My friend Krista Mayshore is on, who has an insane course and program. Krista's base pricing on her program is $25,000, and she sells it like hotcakes. So
Love
Krista, you're awesome.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Seems like a good amount.
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Cool. So what I want to share with you guys today, for those of you who already have it, and those of you who are, let's say, pre-revenue, but will be there pretty soon, I think this will apply to both of you. And what it is a method that my team uses, that I have all my clients use to just to sell a lot of programs and a lot of courses. On my last program that I had online, it was called Money Boss. It was how to make money, how to make $50,000 per month online using social media. We sold $19.9 million of it in about 2.5 years using this method that I'm going to show you. As a result of that, people like Jay Shetty, Jordan Belfort, Robert Kiyosaki, and other people like that came to me and said, hey, do this for me. Can we partner? And so we became 50-50 rev share partners, selling their stuff using this stuff as well. And now what I do is I help people who have programs sell more of their stuff using simple methods like this. And so that is what I want to share with you guys today. If you want to take notes, it is called the 6-box method. In fact, Sharran, I'm going to connect my iPad here real quick.
Awesome.
And we'll do some drawing.
You got it.
Okay, sweet. Can you see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So the 6-box method is what we're going to be going over here today. And so the big idea, in fact, I'm going to stop screen for a second. The big idea I want everyone to grasp here about this is, who here has a ClickFunnels account or a website funnel of some sort? Let me just see in the chat. Who here has something like that? Okay. Seems like a lot of us do, right? We have a website funnel of some sort. That could be ClickFunnels, a Teachable, a Lead Pages, any types of those platforms out there. Those are great. Those work. You probably gotten leads and sales from them, and it works, and that's fine. But my message here today is to tell all of you that there is a second funnel that you might not know about that I think is as essential, if not more essential, than the website funnel. And I call it the social funnel. Because the reality is, you probably know this, people live on social media today. They don't live on websites. So think about this idea. The average person checks Instagram 7.5 times per day. In each of those sessions, they're average 7 minutes per session. So they go on 7.5 times a day. They average 7 minutes a session. If your funnel could somehow exist on Instagram, in theory, that means they basically check your funnel 7 times a day. Who checks your website funnel 7 times a day? Who's going and refreshing your website funnel every hour and a half? No one does that. No one's doing that, right? You got to chase them down and get them to the website. I don't know if you've noticed it also, but social media feels safe, feels like a community. Well, kind of safe, but feels like a community, feels like it's people like to go there, like to hang out with each other. It's where the party's at. Whereas a website is kind of like scary. Where am I going? What's on this? Like, people prefer social media. And so there's a couple of these forces at play that a few years ago convinced me that the best funnel cannot exist on a website. It has to exist where the people already are. And the people already are is on social media. Now you go, well, how can I have a funnel on an Instagram? That doesn't make sense. Well, I will show you how it works. And so what it looks like from a visual perspective is this. Cool. So a normal website funnel would be like this. Right? You have probably some type of ad or CTA or something, email list, or maybe even social media. And then you drive them to some type of website where there's some type of headline, usually, maybe there's a video, and maybe there's a place for people to opt in, give you their information. And then perhaps there's a buy button there, or you're going to try and get people to buy on this page. And then maybe you have upsells, right? And so that's a typical website funnel, something like that, right? We've all seen those before. Well, what we do on Instagram is we kind of flip this on its head and we go, all right, so everyone's on Instagram all day. They're checking it multiple times a day. If we could just take the structure and the psychology of a normal website funnel, which works so well, but we could change that into something on social media, this would probably work really well. And so what we do instead is we will use things like content or CTAs on, let's say, Instagram in this example. So that could be a feed post, that could be a story, that could be any of those things, where the whole point of it is to get people to DM you some type of keyword, an inbound lead on social media. From there, you are now chatting with them. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we really like chat, don't we? How many chat platforms do you use every day? Can you even keep track of them? SMS, Messenger, Instagram DM, WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord. I'm sure I've forgotten more. It just goes on, right? We love to chat. And so we chat with people. We chat with them. We qualify them. We have a legitimate sales conversation with them. And then either we sell the product directly through Instagram, meaning I send people a payment link directly on Instagram that goes to an order form and they just buy. Or if you're a book a call person, we then have them book a call. And the show rates are significantly higher because they have a relationship with you, because they've chatted with you. You're able to qualify better, right? Like, who's going to qualify better? When you chat with someone and you can hear from them versus a website that you set up on Calendly that has certain disqualification rules. It's just not close, right? And so this is the mechanism that we use. And what we have found, because again, I've been online for 14 years, is that this funnel here, this social type of funnel that's based on chat and not website, it typically outconverts the website funnel better than 2-to-1 and usually 3-to-1. So for the same 100 leads, let's say for 100 leads on the website funnel, I make, just going to pick a number here, call it $200. On the social funnel, I will make $400 to $600 with the same lead flow. And so the whole idea here that I really want everyone to get is this mechanism for selling. This is what I call the funnel of the future. The funnel of the future is chatting with people in a human, one-on-one, authentic way, not a bunch of big, hypey headlines on a website. If you can capture this idea and internalize it and then begin to think about all your funnels and everything you do based on chat, you will have a severe advantage over the other people in your niche who are not going to figure this out for the next 5 or 10 years, right? And so if you understand chat is the game, then the question it kind of becomes like, well, two things, right? How do I get them in a chat? And what do I say? Right? How do I get them in chat? And what do I say? And so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on what you say, because I think it's just more relevant for everyone here, but I can briefly talk about how to get people in the chat as well. I'll give you one strategy we're using right now that's working incredibly well for getting more leads. Who here wants Sharran, it's such a hypey thing to ask. Who here wants more leads? But genuinely, like, who here wants more leads? I assume the answer is everyone. I don't even need to see hands. I've never met anyone who was like, I just wish I had less leads today.
But I think the one thing that I'd love for you to talk about, JC, is there is a lead and there is a inbound lead. There's completely different things. Like, you've educated me that when somebody inbounds a keyword, the quality of that lead is significantly different because they are walking into your world. And
Correct.
And I think that changes how we interact with that person completely.
Correct. So what we've actually found, Sharran, which has been really interesting, is I wanted to answer the question, how do I make an outbound lead an inbound lead? How do I make them as high quality? How do you do that? Right. And so we have been able to do that. And in fact, we've actually been converting our outbound leads better than our inbound leads the last 30 days or so. And so what we've been doing to generate leads, I'll share with you guys, is what you want is it's you or someone on your team who is looking at every new follower that you get, every single one. And you want to give them some type of criteria to evaluate this person that basically says, are they a good fit or are they not a fit potentially for what I have to offer? Everyone who looks like they could potentially be a fit should get a message from you. Should absolutely get a message from you. And it should be something like this. I'll give you a couple of ground rules here. The best outbound message, you guys are going to hopefully like this. The best opening message to send a new follower to get them into conversation is, hey. That is the best opener that we have tested. We've tested a lot of them, is hey. The reason we keep it short and we just want to get a reply when you're doing outbound is because Instagram doesn't like it if you send long blocks of text to new people over and over and over and over and over again, because you look like a bot to the algorithm and they will ban you for messaging for 24 hours or 7 days or something like that. We don't want to go near that. What I always say is safety first, right? And so what we do in terms of safety is we send 12 messages per hour outbound. So of all the people who followed me in the last hour, let's find the 12 that look the most like my existing customers, and let's send them a message and engage them in a conversation. Because, like, as I know, if I can get them into a chat, it's very likely I will be able to book a good amount of these people on a call or sell them something directly in the DMs. And so we say, hey, they reply. It's usually like, hi, or hey, or what's up, or something like that. And then our response is usually, thanks for following. I'm in place. So I'll say, I'm in Puerto Rico. That's where I am right now. Where are you from? By the way, I'm giving away a free copy of my cheat sheet, whatever the title is, to all my new followers. Want a copy? No strings attached. And what happens is when someone replies and they say yes, now they are a lead to me. They were not a lead before. They were just a bystander. Now they're a real lead. Now I'm like, okay, now we can go somewhere. And the reason is by saying yes to my lead magnet, what have they done? They've expressed intent. They've expressed interest in this topic, right? And so now they're a real lead. What we typically see, just to give you guys some KPIs, is we will see 30% reply rate on the initial hey. We'll see 15 to 20% become a lead. And then of that initial, let's call it 100 outbounds that we send, 1 to 3% will buy or book a call. And so if you have enough follower flow to send 12 messages every hour, that is 288 messages per day. I'm not good at math, but I'm pretty sure that's right. 15% of those become a lead. That's roughly, call it 42 leads per day. And then of that initial 288, 1 to 3% will buy or book a call. You're looking at somewhere between 3 to 7, call it calls booked per day from outbound. Average person, if you're good at closing, should make $500 per book call, depending on what you sell, especially if you sell a program. And so if you're booking 4 per day from outbound, that should roughly back out to about $2,000 in top line revenue per day from this. Does that make sense?
Jason,
Yes.
a couple of great questions here. First one, I'll ask in a couple in different orders. So two questions. Number one is, you talked about 12 messages per hour. So Krista asked a good question. She's like, hey, how many text messages are you kind of giving people as a target, or messages you're giving as a target outbound? And two, if you get into that, does it matter what platform, as in like LinkedIn, or LinkedIn is not as conducive as, call it Instagram right now, but how would you answer those two questions? As number of outbound plus what would you do on LinkedIn?
So just to clarify, the first question was, how many messages do we send?
Yes.
Yeah. So 12 an hour. So when I say 12 messages an hour, that's a really good question. I want to clarify. That means 12 initial outbound messages per hour. So we're going to message 12 new people per hour. The way I describe it to my team is, I want you to imagine that it's like you have a BB gun with 12 BBs in the gun, and every hour it refills. So each hour you have 12 that you can fire off. So you really want to make sure that you pick the best 12 at the top of the hour when you do this. So they have timers set on their phone that at the top of every hour, they go in and they message 12 people who've engaged in the last hour that are new.
Awesome.
Yeah. Once they reply, you can message them as much as you want. Right. And the reason, this is just kind of a side tangent, but the reason I think this is on Instagram and why it's so good for outbound in this way is that we're all going to be really honest and sincere with each other. A big part of Instagram is guys and girls meeting each other. That's a huge part of Instagram. And if you ever looked at a female's DMs on Instagram, it's a scary place because there's a lot of dudes who are sending her a lot of messages. Right. And so that's a big reason why the platform actually even exists, because we know sex sells. And so it is conducive to you send messages to people who just followed you, who are new, and your message will go to their inbox. They will see it. It works out really well. And then the other question was about LinkedIn. I don't have that much direct experience with LinkedIn, largely because the average person checks LinkedIn roughly like 2 to 3 times per month, the average LinkedIn user. So 2 to 3 times per month versus 7 times a day. And that's why I think Instagram is better in that way. Although I will say that LinkedIn, the quality of the people there obviously is much higher. The ticket size is much higher, and it is trending in the right direction. Sharran, I know you really like LinkedIn, and I do think that there is a lot of potential there. I'm looking to.
Yeah. Hey, last question on this one, and you could utilize the answer for this now or where it fits well. There was a couple of questions around, hey, is it cool to run ads to get followers and have follower growth? How do you broadly think about that? And you probably have to sprinkle that. And I think the big part around this, if you could talk about it, is just the mindset around buying growth, because there's, that, oh my gosh, like he bought followers, and people like freak out about that. Right. So what is how would you help people think through that?
Yeah, let's lay down the hammer on buying followers for once and for all. So what we do internally is we run all the ads for our clients as well. So we run all the ads, we run all the followers, and the engagement for them. And so like me personally, I have 2.3 million followers on Instagram. I don't know how many of them I bought. I can just tell you how much I spent to buy followers, because I certainly buy. For the last, basically since June 2019. So for over 3 years now, with a few months they're off, I've spent somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000 per month on acquiring followers for Instagram. On that investment, I have made usually between 19 to 1 or 27 to 1 return on that ad spend. It is good. It's really good. Sharran, what I didn't do, which is so annoying, is I didn't discover outbound until a few months ago. And so I have no idea what that return would be if this was all inbound. I didn't even do any outbound to all these new followers. The point of me telling you all of this is that everyone who's big on Instagram that I've ever seen, and I'm behind the scenes with basically almost every big brand or name or influencer that you've seen or followed. And it's the secret is that everyone buys followers. Everyone buys followers. It's not It's not even like when I'm hanging out in green rooms behind, at events and stuff, people are talking about it. It's not even a weird thing. It's a normal accepted thing that everyone invests in followers. What we call it is investing in growth. Everyone invests in growth. Everyone who buys followers can buy followers. And so the problem is I'm sure some of you here have bought followers in the past and you got scammed. They were fake followers. They were bots. They were all from a third world country, or they spoke Portuguese or something like that. I've had that experience as well. There's a tiny handful of really good suppliers out there who are just really good media buyers. And what they do is, for you, if like what we do with our clients, is we do a large quantity of targeted shout outs for our clients. And so, for instance, if I have a client who is he teaches options income trading, and that's what he teaches people how to do, we're going to buy shout outs on pages where people already follow for stock trading or for markets, or watch pages or Ferrari pages or yacht pages. Any pages where the person watching is going to be interested in making more money and status and ambition and upward mobility. Psychographically, that person is likely to be interested in a way to make extra money as well, for instance, with like options trading. So that's the key to make it happen. Sharran, does that sufficiently answer this question?
Yeah, that's perfect. So just FYI, if you are interested in figuring out the key parties that are trusted in this world for growth, I would say just email team@sharran.com, and I'll work with our team and Jason's team to connect you with the right resource. We just want to make sure that you get all the years of kind of trial and error that JC has gone through. We could kind of shortcut that for you. So just email team@sharran.com.
Yes, please shortcut it. Very quick story. When I got started in this, one of the ways I got scammed is I paid someone who's well known in the industry and allegedly supposed to be great at what he did, which he wasn't. And we ended up getting 15,000 fake followers to our page in about 24 hours. The problem when you get fake followers is that none of those people are going to engage with your content. And so the algorithm will look at no one engaging with your content, or a small percentage of your audience engaging with your content, and it'll go, this audience must not like this person. Let's show less of their content to their audience. And before you know it, you're walking around thinking you're shadow banned or something like that. And you're not. The algorithm has just decided that your followers don't like your content because your followers aren't even real people. Right. And so what we had to do was pay a company to manually go through the followers and manually remove every single fake follower of the 15,000. And it was like a 3-week process. It was not cheap. And so you definitely want to avoid that thing. That wasn't good. So anyways, let's keep rocking. I want to talk about what to say. This is one of my favorite things in the world, is what do you say in the chat? Now, the key thing with what you say in the chat is that the words matter a lot, right? I love the example of like the dog bit Johnny versus Johnny bit the dog, right? Change the order of 2 words. You have a very different story going on here. With Sharran's funnel that he talked about in the beginning, that we didn't make major changes. We changed the name of 2 things, just changed a couple words. And all of a sudden, it becomes a $1 million profit funnel, just like that. So the words really do matter. Not all conversations are created equal. And so we have a framework that we've used and we've tested personally between my own accounts and some of the clients I mentioned before. We have now managed over 3.3 million chat conversations on Instagram, and we have the data on all of them. And so I have a very clear idea of what doesn't work and what tends to work more often. I can't guarantee this is going to work for you. But probabilistically, this is going to give you your best shot of booking more calls and making more sales in the chats. So I actually have a little document here that we can go over. And so this is the 6 boxes. So a couple of principles before we get into the boxes is just 3 of them very, very important. Number 1 is when you are chatting with people, you want to be more bartender and less soup Nazi. So soup Nazi in Seinfeld, George Costanza walks in and says, I'll have, a cup of, mushroom bisque. And soup Nazi goes, $3, right? And he gives him $3 and he goes, stand over there, right? And he makes a move, and George is just like, mushroom bisque, $3, stand over there. Yes, sir. Give me your money. Yes, sir. Leave. I'm out of here. And it's not a lot of rapport going on there, right? And so what we want is we want to be less soup Nazi and more bartender. If you're at a bar and you go up and you order a drink from the bartender, does the bartender just like ignore you? Do they make a little chit chat with you? Do they make a couple of jokes? Do they ask some personal information? Do they share a little bit about themselves? It's kind of, I guess in today's terms, you might call it bullshitting a little bit, but you need a little bit of what we call social lubrication in the chats to make it flow nice and smooth. So we're going to talk about how to do that, but that's one thing we want to keep in mind. I think another thing we want to keep in mind is we want to text like a teenager. How many people here have teenagers in the household right now? Some of you? Okay. When they text you, do they text a big block of text, like 8 sentences in one big block? Or is it like 3 words, send, 1 word, send, emoji, send, 4 more words, send, 6 more words, send? It's more like that, right? It's got more of a staccato feel to it than it does a formal paragraph type block thing going on. And so when we are chatting with people on Instagram, we actually want to text that way too. So for instance, if I was texting someone, I want to make my text to them look and sound like this, because it would look like I had thought a lot about what I was saying, which makes you think I have ulterior motives, which causes you to put your guard up and no longer be receptive to me or my messages. Right? That's what happens. You send a big block like this. So instead, what would be better is I want to text you like this because it's just better. Make sense? That's what we want to do. We want this, not that. Does that make sense? Everyone here? Yeah. And by the way, my recommendation for you in the rest of your life is to start texting more like this and less like this. You will get better replies from everyone that you message with, period. Okay. So we want to text like a teenager. And the last one is we want to play hot potato, right? We all played hot potato as a kid. After you eat the potato, what do? Throw it to someone else as fast as you can. And that's kind of the vibe we want to have when we're chatting, especially when we're setting in the chats, meaning when they say something to us, that's them throwing the potato to us. I want to take it. I want to say a couple words, a couple lines, and then I want to ask them a question and throw the potato right back to them. So I don't want to hold on to the potato for too long. And if you can follow those 3 principles, you're going to be good. And so let's take a look at the actual 6-box flow. What to say. Okay, finally, 6 boxes. So if you want to follow along, I would just draw 6 boxes just like this in your notes. And so the 6 boxes give me clarity around what should I be saying, in what order should I be saying it, and is this person ready for me to make my presentation? My presentation being, hey, watch this video and let me know if you want to buy my thing, or maybe here's my presentation for why we should get on a call, and here's how to book a call with me so that we can chat some more. And so the first box is what we call the situation box, meaning once I'm chatting with them, like if I was outbounding and they said, yes, I want the lead magnet, I'd send it to them. And then immediately after, I would say something like, so what's your interest in options income trading? Or so what's your interest in making an extra 5K a month, with trading? It's kind of like, let me just get a feel for the situation to answer the question. And what at that point, what I would like to do is the exact phrasing here is, so tell me a little bit about your current situation. That's all we want to say. So tell me a little bit about your current situation. The reason we use the word situation is because it's code for problem. But if I said to you, hey, tell me a little bit about your problem, you might not want to tell me. But situation, we both know what we're talking about. And this way you get a general feel for what's going on. At that point, we're going to go to the second box in a second, but we need to, remember we talked before about you want to be more bartender, less soup Nazi. And so this is where we do it. And I'm just going to draw a couple squiggles here. And what that means is, so squiggles equals feel and show. Feel and show. So I said, tell me about your situation. And he's like, dude, I'm an Uber driver and I have this business on the side and I got a kid and I'm doing this and I got this and I've tried this and this isn't working and I'm not sure about this. And and that's where I'm at. And I go, okay. I'm not going to go directly into the second box and ask him the second question because that would be too much soup Nazi. Instead, I just want to squiggle a little bit. I want to feel and show. And so feel is a statement of empathy and acknowledgement. That's all it is. And this can be gotcha, makes sense, totally. I hear you. I hear that. Right? Any and all those variations. It could be 1 word, 2 words, 3 words. It's just something we want to say, hey, I'm actually listening to you. I hear you. I'm acknowledging you. So that's how we feel. And then when we show, what we want to do is just show a little bit of expertise that we kind of know what we're talking about here. So some options you can have for a show statement could be something like, reminds me a lot of how I was when I was starting. Another one can be a quick social proof story, like a half sentence anecdote. So he's Uber driver and he's trading. He wants to make money, but he's losing money in the markets. And so if I was doing a social proof story, it might be like, totally hear you on that. Had a client who joined. I had a client who I work with who was an Uber driver and had literally told me almost the exact same thing. All you're doing is you imply that you have a client that you help with the same problem, which is social proof. That's all we want to do. Just a little bit of know-how. The third thing that can work really well here is techno jargon. So every industry has some jargon, some big words, right? In sales copy, you don't necessarily want to use the big words, but here it's good to just pepper them in just a little bit to let them know, like, yeah, I got it. I know what I'm talking about here, right? If you have industry speak or insider language, really good place for you to put it in there as well. Okay. So situation, we feel and show with a little gotcha and then a little one of these options here. And then we go to the second box. And the second box is the gap question. The gap question is, so where are you at now? And where would you like to be 90 days from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, whatever that might be. All we want to do here is establish a problem. That's it, right? So if you are in a business, if you're in helping people grow their income in any way, then it's usually like, so where's your income at now? And where would you like it to be? If you're thinking no one would tell me their income on an Instagram DM, ask them and be amazed of what they will tell you. People on Instagram, in my experience, will tell you more about their personal life than they will their spouse. It's just, I don't know. It's something weird, but it happens. And so if it's business, the money question in terms of gap, really simple. What if your industry doesn't lend itself to a measurable gap question, right? So I have a client who he helps guys date, right? Get more dates. Single guys get more dates. And so he can't be like, so how many dates did you go on last week? And how many would you like to go on? Because 0 is how many the guy went on last week, right? And so his question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with your dating life right now? And where would you like it to be? And so we can enumerate something that usually doesn't have numbers related to it. You guys with me so far? Are we good? Gap? Yeah, see thumbs. Those be beautiful thumbs. All right, cool. So we gap. They answer the question. Wonderful. Do another squiggly. Right? Gotcha. Hear that. Makes sense. Totally. I feel that. You can even send a meme if you wanted to. Right? And then we show. Again, interesting. That reminds me of this time when this happened. It reminds me of my client who I'm working with now who had a similar problem. Oh yeah, you got the hepatitis Wall Street Journal S&P indicator. Yeah, I know all about that thing, right? Just some techno jargon, whatever that might be. And then we go to the third box, and the third box is missing. This is where we get them to self-diagnose. Not because they know what's wrong with them. It's really hard to read the label when you're the one inside the bottle. But I just want to get an idea of what they think the problem is, because that'll help me reflect language back to them later. Right? So the question is, so what do you think is missing? Really simple. So what do you think is missing? Right? You just told me, you're making $10,000 a month. You want to be at $50,000 a month. What do you think is missing? They answer the question. I don't even have any more squigglies. We did it twice. You're good. You don't need to, you can keep feeling, but you don't need to keep showing. At this point, if they've gotten here, they have responded to you positively 3 times and you've demonstrated expertise twice already. You don't need to keep doing it. You have compliance, you have rapport, they are responsive, probably interested at this point. And so the next question we ask, the fourth box, is need. And this is one of my favorite questions to ask. And it's, so what do you need help with most right now? And I love this question because it gets the heart of the matter. What do you need help with most right now? There's a coach I know who he used to run 60-minute coaching sessions. And what he found is he felt like he goes, in the first 10 minutes, we solved the problem. And then we spend 50 minutes wasting time because it was supposed to be scheduled for an hour and I feel bad canceling it at that point. And so what he changed it to, true story, is 3-minute coaching sessions. And you get on the call and he says, hi, and you say hi. And he goes, so what do you need help with most right now? And then you say the answer and then you work on it expeditiously for 3 minutes. And usually the problem solved at the end of 3 minutes. You know what you need to do. Pretty cool. So what do you need help with most right now? They answer the question and we're almost there. 5th box is the priority box. The question here is, so they told us what they need help with most, and you kind of go, okay. So just so I can clarify, is handling this a priority for you right now? Or is this I'll get to it later kind of thing? And all I'm trying to do is decipher is what's their level of urgency here. Have you guys ever been on a sales call with a prospect who had pain, but didn't have enough pain that it was urgent? And no matter what you said or did, you just couldn't get them to like take action because it's just not a priority for them at the moment. It might be a month from now, it might be a year from now, but it's not today. And so you obviously want to prioritize the people whose pain is the highest because they're most likely to buy from you, right? And also most likely to do what you say to actually solve the problem. And so we go for priority. And then the final box is we just swipe left or right? If you've ever been on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge or any of these dating apps, what do people do? They swipe left. That means no thanks. They swipe right. That means yes, I'm interested. And so that's what you need to do internally. You need to ask yourself, based on what they've told me about their situation and where they're at and where they want to go and what they think is missing and what they think they need help with, and if it's a priority for them or not, do I want to go further with this person? Yes or no? If you don't, totally cool. My recommendation is you either point them in the direction to someone else, you get a referral kickback, you add them to your email list, you give them a freebie, whatever you want to do. If it's a swipe right and you're a book a call person, well, now it's time to go ahead and book the call with them. So let me show you how to do that. So we went through the 6 boxes. We're going to swipe right. They're a good fit. And here's what we say. Got it. So based on what you've told me, I can help. Or based on what you told me, I got this for you. Or based on what you told me, we can totally solve this together. I'd love to do a quick XXX call. So the triple X means what I like to do, like people, they have different names for their calls. Maybe you've heard it. They call it a strategy session or a game plan call or a brainstorm call or something like that. What I like to do is if I'm chatting with someone, they just told me all this personal information about them. I should probably harness that and reflect that back to them. So what I do is I name the call something different every time based on what they want most. So if this guy told me that what he wants most is to take his business from 10 to 50K, then I would name the call a 5X profit call. I'd love to do a quick 5X call with you. Right. And it sounds like the call is made exactly for him and what he wants. Sounds good. So I'd love to do a quick XYZ call with you and help you instead of, I'm going to say reflect and help you reflect. And I say reflect, I mean, and help you solve these problems and get these outcomes that you told me that you wanted earlier in the chat. Right. So if he told me he has a job, he wants to trade on the side, he's tried other stuff and it's not working, I would say, I'd love to do a quick 5X profit call with you and help you figure out how to successfully trade on the side while you have this job so that you can make enough money pretty soon to replace the job. Sound good? Of course it sounds good. It's exactly what he wants. He just told me that before in the chat. So he says yes, and we say, cool. So let's do this. Pick a time that works for you here. Drop the link to your appointment setter right there. And just let me know when you're set so I can confirm on my calendar too. Cool? And they say, cool. And you have just booked a very qualified and warm call that is extremely likely to show, feels a large sense of rapport with you when they end up on the call. And if you do your job well on the call, should definitely turn into a new customer or client. And that is the 6 boxes. So let me ask you guys this before, because we do have some time for a little bit of Q&A here. What do you like most about this process? What do you guys like most? I always like to find out from everybody.
Miss Corrigan, go for it.
I love the structure to it and having a formula so that it's basically just reps. You're just going to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and let the cream rise to the top.
Perfect. Yes.
Miguel said it looks like it works. Harz loves it. My coach Athena says this is awesome. Stacy says it's super simple. Louisa says it's very personal. That's really good. A lot of people loved how the custom naming of the call. JC, what have you named? Like, give me a couple of, like, what have you named in the past? Just that's worked for you.
Ecom kickstart call is a good one.
Yeah.
Like kickstart, but so like there's certain names that already work well, accelerator call, kickstart call, things, kickoff call, things like that. But then you just tag it with something, a keyword that they maybe said a couple of times earlier in the chat, and you name the call that.
So good. I think just that alone, that was like I've seen you do that. I've never heard that piece from you, which is so cool, because we all are like, hey, let's have this conversation. I've gotten all this information. Hey, I'm going to get you to a blueprint call. The blueprint may be a complete mismatch and not even hit their pain points. So if you already know it, then you can just change it to, hey, I'm going to give you the revenue accelerator call if that's all they wanted, which works so well. So that was a huge takeaway for me.
And what I have some clients doing Sharran right now, it's still in beta, so I'm not going to say everyone should change it, but what they're doing and it's working is their Calendly now doesn't have a description and a headline. It just says quick Zoom call. And that's all that's on the Calendly. It's very soft, gentle, it doesn't fit the normal sales pattern of revenue accelerator call, and the call will discuss these things, et cetera, et cetera.
So good.
Yeah, it's cool.
As you guys are thinking about this, was there something that Jason talked about in this process where you're like, oh my gosh, that one thing, I can utilize that one thing right now, or I can utilize that one thing immediately, or I can change that one thing right away? What comes to mind? Just give me a wave in the chat and I'll unmute you. Like what comes to mind? Like one thing that you can utilize right now, which I know you had a lot of notes in the chat. So what is one thing that came to mind that you can utilize? Outbound DMs, Stacy says. A lot of Taz says outbound DMs, a second box. I could use a VM to show niche knowledge. Yeah, Dr. Cooper, super good.
Absolutely.
Jan asked a good question, and JC, you've done this. Can I close them via chat instead of booking a call?
Yes, you absolutely can. And so the only difference is when it comes time to, okay, I got it, let's book a call, instead of going that way, what we say is we say something like, okay, I got it. So based on everything you told me, I think I can definitely help. And I'm actually doing something that's private and kind of new, and it's not really public, but I just made a really short and plain and simple video about it. That'll just give you the details. And then you can just watch and let me know if you're in or have any questions. Would it be okay if I sent that video to you right now? Yes, it would. Great. Send them your little short VSL, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7-minute VSL explaining the program. Call to action on the video is come back to the chat and let me know if you're in, out, or have any questions. When they say they're in, that's when you close them. And you drop the payment link directly in the chat. And it's a complete social funnel. There's no websites involved whatsoever.
So good.
Yeah.
JC, have you seen or can you talk to mindset around price point for selling on chat, and just kind of your experience with, hey, by the way, just so y'all know, if you have mindset barriers on price point in chat, let me ask you this question. This will be really fun. Can we get everyone to do this? What number do you believe would be the maximum price point that you can sell on chat? Put that number in the chat. What number do you believe would be the maximum price point you can sell on chat alone? Stacy says 997. Like, what is it? 495, 30K, 1500, 20K, 5,000, 497. Jeremy, you're getting there. Push to a call, 10K, 1,000, 10,000, no limit. It's in the delivery. 3K, whatever you can believe in. Many of you know me. I'll tell you the truth. Jason coached me to be able to sell a $1 million 18-month offer on WhatsApp. Just so you know, right? Just so you know.
Just leave that there and walk away.
Which I was like, dude, no one's going to buy this. And he's like, you have to believe that they don't want to get on a call with you. Like, you have to believe that. And I was like, who doesn't want to get on a call? He's like, it's in your head that they want to get on a call. And I was like, well, yes, because it feels like a big number. He goes, he's already a yes. You just have to give him a way to say yes. And I was like, I don't believe this at all. He goes, just follow the script, dude. And so it was very kind of enlightening for me to go through that process.
What changed for you, Sharran, in terms of like your personal operating system after that experience?
It changed the minimum standards, because I thought that, hey, if above like a 997 or a 1997, I have to either go to a VSL or to a call to showcase value. But I never thought that you can frame almost anything that you need. And the interesting part is, the higher the price point, the less you need from an offering perspective. I didn't realize that. I thought, well, the higher the price point, I got to do more and more. I didn't realize that the higher the price point, they just want a straight, tight result. And a lot of them are also just buying your energy and the trust they already have in you. And so if that was my big takeaway, where I was like, hey, if I can't get the program to show value, then I have to get on a call to have the program show value. And unlocking or dislocating me from the process was like totally mind-blowing for me.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the person who can afford $1 million offer in that way probably has a lot going on, doesn't need more stuff. They probably have something very specific in mind. And that's what they're looking for the solution for. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.